Assalamualaikum everyone and good day. Welcome to the Halal in Travel Global Summit 2026 hosted by Crescentrating. My name is Humaira and I will be your moderator for today's session. I am a brand creative designer at Halal Trip and alongside my friend Salma, which is my co-moderator for today, I'm our social media executive. So our today's session is called Scroll, Trust and Book. Basically how the Gen Z Muslim creators are rewriting the travel playbook. So, in this very special session, we will be talking about Gen Z Muslim travelers, a generation who don't separate between the creators and their community. So, they discover destinations through Reels like Instagram and TikToks, and they validate their health options through the creators that they actually trust. So, they choose brands that aligns with their values. And here's what makes this panel a little bit different. The creators that is sitting with us today, welcome everyone. They carry the same values, the same negotiables, and also the same impassions with performative marketing. So I think without further ado, I will just hand over to Salma to introduce our speakers for today.
Thank you, Humaira. So please welcome our three panelists. First, Benazio, an Indonesian Muslim content creator, halal lifestyle educator, digital storyteller, and also co-founder of Japan First Timer. Next, we have also Khalil, a food and travel creator known for sharing engaging experiences through his content. And also, we have Jasmine, also known as a Singapore based creator who documents her journey as a Chinese Muslim mualaf, offering a deeply personal perspective on identity, lifestyle, and travel. Welcome to all three of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And what makes this conversation especially exciting is that each of you represents a very different corner of the digital space, from travel and food to lifestyle and personal storytelling. Yet, audiences continue to look to creators like you when making real decisions, especially around travel. So, today, people don't rely only on search engines anymore. Sometimes a single TikTok video, Instagram story, or honest recommendation from someone they trust can influence where they go, what they experience, or even what they avoid. So I think we can begin from there. Can you guys please share a moment where your content genuinely influenced someone's travel decisions, whether it encouraged them to visit a place, try an experience, or even reconsider a destinations? Maybe Bena, we can start with you on this one.
Okay, thank you so much, Salma, for the introduction. So, Alhamdulillah, this is really happens in my life. Yeah, since I started posting about halal education in 2022, I've seen it spread well beyond my closest circle, all the way to my followers, online friends, and even public figures or celebrities who reach out to me because they trust what I share about the halal education. And I started noticing it in small but meaningful moments. Like for example, a client choosing a halal certified venue for a meeting because of something I posted, or maybe like my friend saying, "Just let Bena decide. He knows what's halal," something like that. And DMs coming and asking halal question before a trip. So I think that's quite an evidence that my content is genuinely changing people's behavior, and people who used to be unsure about a restaurant are now booking with peace because the halal status is clear. And that, for me, is a very huge impact, alhamdulillah.
That's really interesting, Bena, especially how one piece of content can create that level of trust and influence. Halil, how about from your experience? Have you had a moment where you realize your content genuinely impacts someone's travel choices?
I think that my content actually did like make a huge impact only after like when I did one of my leisure travels to Vietnam, Sapa, Vietnam, and then one of my followers were telling me that oh, they didn't know that this place was actually like convenient for Muslims. Then after when she saw most of my subsequent postings, then she told me that oh, she actually booked just because of me. So that actually gave me that kind of like a moment for me to like cherish that. Oh, I didn't know that my content actually does make a huge impact in terms of the Muslim landscape. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I think that really reflects how audiences today connect more with relatable experiences than traditional promotion. And Jasmine, how about you? Have you experienced something similar with your audience?
Yes, quite similar. I think the most recent trip to Kundasang in Malaysia, it's very close to home and where we are in Asia as well. Then I never thought that solo trip would lead someone to taking their first step into taking their first solo trip. So like I think for example the car rental company that I worked with, I'm quite close to them, and then they told me a couple of times like, oh, it's this follower that saw your content that they decided to rent with us. So I think that's very fulfilling that people are willing to take the first step just because I posted something, and it's something that they always wanted to do but they never wanted to or even dared to. So yeah, that was very nice.
Okay, thank you, Jasmine. I think what stands out from all your answer is how influence today feels far more human and relatable than a traditional promotion. Often it's not a large campaign or polished advertisement that shapes someone's decision, but it's simply watching someone they trust experience a destination in uh, an authentic way. And that leads perfectly into our next discussion. We've talked about the impact content can have, whether it inspires someone to book a trip, visit the destinations, or rethink their plans. But I'm interested in where that journey actually begins. Khalil, your content is very connected to everyday Gen Z culture and lifestyle, right? Especially in Singapore. So I love to hear your perspective on this. So for Gen Z travelers today, where do travel decisions usually begin? Is it TikTok, Instagram, recommendation from friends? And at what point does the question of whether a destination is Muslim friendly start becoming part of that decision? What do you think, Khalil?
So I think actually TikTok does most of the heavy lifting thanks to the algorithm and also the Google search like capabilities lah. So it means that the hook is actually already in place. So what actually converts the inspiration for the viewers to actually key into their card numbers is that, especially as a Muslim, is that we creators we actually hold the role to actually affirm them that it's actually convenient, especially that we are actually in the same generation as them. So it gives them that bigger pull factor for them to actually go on and book their trip.
I see. I think that really reflects how travel behavior is evolving today. And it's fascinating to see how digital culture is reshaping the traveler journey. Clearly, the way younger travelers discover and evaluate destinations is changing rapidly, and creators are playing a much bigger role in shaping that journey. And with that, I think it's the perfect moment to hand things over to Humaira, who will take us into the next part of discussion.
Thank you very much, Salma. So I think Khalil has just touched on our foundation, which is where the audience is discovering destinations and all that. And I think that's where the next question landed, which is on whether a destination is Muslim friendly or not. So on the next question, I want to ask Benazio, as you have been active in advocating Muslim friendly travels through your channels, and I believe your followers trust you more than they trust an audience, a destination's own marketing when they decide where to eat or whether a destination is genuinely welcoming to their needs. So I want to ask you, how do you handle their trust? How do you handle the responsibility given by your followers when they see your content? And if you're willing to share with us, has it ever gone wrong on your end?
Okay. As a content creator, as a educator, and also a Muslim, I take very full responsibility for what I post. That's actually why I pursued a formal halal supervisor certification, and I wanted people not to trust not just my intentions but also my knowledge. And yes, I have a experience. Yeah, it has gone wrong. I think once, I believe, and it was before my halal certification. So I was sharing a dish, a menu I genuinely love at a restaurant. No sponsorship, no deal. I just like the food. And then I asked the staff, and they said it was halal, even without a certification. And then I posted it in my social media. But then the owner reached out and told me that the dish contained mirin or alcohol. So I immediately clarified and apologized to my followers. But then the owner realized that there was a real demand for a halal version of the menu. So fortunately, they reformulated the dish, removed the mirin, and the sales went up. So I think the lessons for creators like me or for the us as a consumer, we always have to verify it with someone who really actually knows the ingredients, not just the stuff. And the lesson, I think, for the restaurants, if they are working toward being Muslim friendly, they have to train the staff on the halal basics education. So the guests deserve us us, the guests, deserve more accurate information before we decide to eat there.
Thank you very much, Ben. I think what you have just shared with us really shows that the real works that needs to happen off camera before we post the content on the content creators POV. And also, I think that was also very insightful for the brands and anyone's on the audience watching. So I think that's exactly also why your followers trust you, right? On the verification on whether, and also your transparency when you said that you ended up saying sorry to them because you misunderstood or mistook the halal status of the restaurant. Thank you again, Bena. So I think we have talked about the weight of trust. So when we're talking Gen Z, right? I believe Gen Z are critical thinkers. They held their value very highly. So I think I want to ask Jasmine on this next question. So when your generation talks about value, we're talking about sustainability or being authentic or even social justice. So do you think this value that Gen Z Muslim travelers have actually change where they book, or does the algorithm ultimately wins?
I think it really depends on the person's intention of I guess, going for that activity. I think one activity I personally didn't like and I didn't promote also was this, I think, like snake farm in Krabi. A lot of people go there because you get up close and personal with the snakes. I mean, they do treat the snakes well, but ultimately I think for the price paid and just the whole ethics of not, let's say, like not even telling you the prices until you reach there, and then they're like, okay, 600 baht per person, and then like there's no other information you can find online about that place. I think that's very shady. Then that kind of, how would I put it? I think it's so important to, as a consumer, to take a step forward into researching all these, or hopefully creators like us can bridge that gap in that lack of information when it comes to things. Because as much as, you know, brands pay us to fulfill certain criteria or whatever, but ultimately if we as a creator don't feel that our values align with how the collaboration is going, I'd rather not give up. I'd rather not take that money and just, you know, stick to what I really believe in, because ultimately the trust that your followers have in you, it's invaluable. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. I think that was very interesting. And also, I have a follow-up question again for you, Jasmine. So, when you create contents, especially, so are you leading your audience's values or are you reflecting them?
Um, how do I think I post with a lot of intention, in the sense that I really go back to who I am as a Muslim and the kind of values that Islam teaches us also. And I mean, I don't outrightly say like, oh, I'm a very honest person, but people can tell from the content that I do and the type of stories that I tell that it's just true as it is. And that if I can tie back to who I ultimately want to become as a Muslim, and, you know, be better every day, then I hope in that sense it translates back to my audiences and they reflect upon themselves also. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, I get what you're saying. So basically, you're basically shaping also on what comes next, right? Not only you also held your values close to what your content picturized. So thank you very much, Jasmine. So I think we have talked about trust with Bena and also values with Jasmine. So we have talked about how we interact with our audience. So maybe as content creators, maybe let's talk a little bit on the business side of things. So as we all know, now businesses or brands, they want to work with content creators, and especially tourism boards, they want to work with you guys. They want to work with Muslim creators. So the question is, I want to ask Khalil first on this one question. What do you think separates a partnerships that you are proud of versus the one that you felt a bit transactional?
I believe that like a partnership that actually knows your niche and actually have done a few prior research on what my content is all about. So if let's say they can actually find a way to amplify and like boost engagement in terms of how they know how I can actually relate to the viewers and how I can like get that pull lah. So basically, I think a good like a partnership will be able to have both of us angle it together in a way that we are able to appease both sides' objectives, so that it's not just a one-sided thing, but rather like a compromise between two different sides. Yeah. So for me, something that would feel transactional would be something that's, for example, like one-sided, and they just don't give you any space or any creative ownership to promote how you think that you can best sell to your audiences. Yeah. So I don't have any prior experience to that yet, alhamdulillah. But yeah.
Thank you very much, Halil. I think your answer was very nuanced and very thoughtful, which also make me a little bit curious. Benazio, as you have been on the scene quite a long time, right? What do you think of Halil's answer? And also want to ask to Benazio, like, if you ever received like kind of like a tone deep brief in your experience as a content creator, maybe you can share with us.
Yeah, I'm agree with Khalil. Yeah, I think the partnerships that I'm proud of are the ones who where the clients actually understands what they are doing and who they are working with. So because choosing a creator or a Muslim creators shouldn't just be about chasing virality, because viral, I think for me, viral is a bonus. Yeah, what matters is we shared values and finding a creator who can genuinely communicate those values to the right audience. I think that's what's the most important things. And I think the best partners also respect the personal brand that we've built a very long time, and they don't just give us the raw brief. So we have to find a middle ground between the brief and our creative voice. As for the tone deaf briefs, without naming anyone, I once received an offer from a travel brand. They wanted me to fly me somewhere, which sounds great, but the scope of work was amazing. Well, so many posts, tight deadlines, and very detailed specific requirements, very specific rules, and without any fee. So the expectation was the free trip was the compensation enough. So I think when we're talking about a real partnership, it should be feel balanced, so because our time, our audience, and our credibility, these things really have value. And I think the best collaborations are the ones where both sides genuinely can feel that.
Thank you, Benazio. I think from what Bena and also Khalil has already said, I can conclude that I think in partnership like this, both parties need to be considerate of each other's values and objective, right? And I think, yeah, what they have shared are very valuable insights and eye-opening experience. Thank you again. So, what do you think, Salma?
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is that the industry is becoming more aware of Muslim creators, but sometimes there's still a tendency to place them into a very narrow category as though their content only resonates with Muslim audiences. But in reality, audiences follow creators for many reasons. For example, like the storytelling, personality, the lifestyle, the perspective, not just the label attached to them. So, Jasmine, I think your content is a really strong example of that, and I love to hear your thoughts on this. Your audience goes far beyond just Muslim travelers. Do you think the industry fully understands that yet? And does being labeled a Muslim travel creator help open opportunities, or can it sometimes feel limiting as well? What do you think, Jasmine?
I think the industry underestimates how big the Muslim travel content market actually is. I mean, before I even became Muslim, I never thought of going into travel in the first place, but I would see most of the creators that pop up on my FYP are not Muslim creators at that point of time. But of course, the more Muslim creators I connect with, and then I realized that, oh, actually, there's so many different industries that we are all in, whether it's fashion, travel, lifestyle, food. And I think it's a huge market that it's going to keep growing as the years come by. And I hope that people are seeing that it's not even though it's a Muslim market, but the content that we do is applicable no matter who you are as a person, like whether it's like something you want to eat or something you just want to experience, like visit a masjid, for example, like it's open to everyone. So hopefully in the years to come, people are, keep on being more open-minded to that and not just stick to whatever they are comfortable with. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Jasmine. I think perspectives like yours are incredibly important in shaping a more inclusive travel space. And I think this conversation really shows how the future of Muslim friendly travel is no longer just about accessibility, but also about representation, authenticity, and understanding audiences in a much deeper way. And with so many destination marketers, hotel groups, and industry leaders joining us today, I like to end with one final question for all three of you. You each have about 30 seconds for this, starting with Bena, then Khalil, and also the last one is Jasmine. What's one thing destinations, hotels, or travel brands need to improve or rethink by next year in order to genuinely earn your generation trust and loyalty? Maybe Bena can start.
Um, I think the data is clear. This industry is projected to grow significantly toward 2030. So my challenge to everyone watching is very simple, actually. Don't just observe that growth, be part of building the industry. So people or entrepreneurs, all the business, invest in making your destination, your hotels, or your menus genuinely halal and genuinely Muslim friendly, because the demand is very real and it's getting bigger and bigger. And I think for those who want to work with Muslim creators like us, I can say that we are not just like billboards. Yeah, we are partners. We are open to conversation, to collaboration, to building campaigns together that actually serve this community. And I think I speak for my fellow panelists too. Businesses can come to us and collaborate together. Let's build this industry together.
Yeah, that's really interesting point, Bena. I think that's something many brands in this room will relate to. Khalil, let's go to you next. How about from your perspective?
I think it's important to actually bring us in at the strategy or like your discussion stage. So because not when the campaign is ready, like fully finalized and like set in stone, so give us some space for us to actually give in our inputs. And yeah, so involve us early and also give us some creative ownership. And I think the engagement will actually follow through.
Yeah, that's really strong point, Khalil. Let's go next, Jasmine. What would your answer be?
I would say don't invite Muslim creators just for representation, but actually think from the end to end and how it's like for our lifestyle. Whether it's if you're saying you're Muslim friendly, okay, then what make sure the information of whether it's clearly halal, that it's easy to find, whether there's prayer accessibility. I think all these things, people don't really connect with just tourism ads anymore because people want to know what's the truth of lived experiences. So if brands want Gen Z loyalty, I think they just need to stop selling perfection, but what's actually real that eventually builds trust.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jasmine. I think what's really powerful is that all three of you highlight different ideas and also perfectly capture what younger travelers are looking for today. Not just promotion, but real connection and meaningful experiences.
Yeah, thank you again for Benazio, Khalil, and Jasmine for your honesty and also your clarity. And I think all of your statements are very grounding and it very much kind of summarize our conversation in today's sessions. So, three panelists, three challenges, and I think none of them are complicated. They just require the industry to choose between relevance over comfort. And I think today's sessions have touched a very relatable topics for young Muslim travelers around the world, and of course, a very insightful session for all the industry experts watching among the audience. So I want to say just one sentence to conclude this session today. I think Muslim-friendly travel is not just a niche; it is a mandate. And once again, thank you for our panelists, for Benazio, Halal, and Jasmine, also for Salma for your time. And also don't forget to follow our speakers today. If you haven't already, their handles are on the screen. And also don't forget to check out the many other engaging sessions happening throughout the Hal and Travel Global Summit 2026. And this has been Humaira and Salma. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.